I just watched a founder book 26 sales calls and close exactly 0 of them. And the craziest part is she kept asking to sell harder in the DMs because she was terrified of the actual call itself. And if you ask me, that's not a sales problem whatsoever. That's an order taker who got exposed the second warm leads stopped walking through the door. It's not because the leads were bad. No, it's because they're not salespeople. See, they're order takers. I almost made this exact mistake 2 weeks ago. Someone DM'd me, asked me how to automate lead follow-up without sounding like a bot. Perfect question. And I caught myself typing out a 3-paragraph response explaining our entire smart messaging framework. I stopped halfway through because I realized what I was actually doing. I was coaching her out of a sale before we even got on a call. So what did I do? Well, I deleted the message. I sent this instead. I said, that's actually the exact problem we built FlowChat to solve. Want to hop on a 15-minute call tomorrow and I'll show you how we handle it. Instead of me trying to solve the problem in messages. Well, she booked. And then we closed her 2 days later. Now watch what did with the same setup. See, a business owner reached out asking how video could help him book more clients. That's what she does. And instead of inviting the person to a conversation, typed out 4 paragraphs. She explained her exact content strategy, told him which platforms to focus on, gave him a 3-step process for creating hooks. That really works because she's been doing it for a long time. Even sent him examples of video structures that work. The guy responded, wow, this is great. This is so much gold. Thank you so much. And then he disappeared. Never booked a call. And that was the first experience that we had with couldn't figure out why. She thought what she was building was trust. She thought what she was showing was her expertise. She thought more value meant more buy-in. It did the opposite. See, she gave away answers for free because she was terrified of getting on the call and having nothing left to say. When she started working with us, we booked 26 conversations through DMs, 26 people who had the exact problem that she solves, and they had money to actually pay for all of this. She closed none of them. 0. And if you've ever felt like you're the only one who can close deals in your business, you're about to find out why. You think building rapport in the DMs is good sales behavior. It's actually destroying your close rate. Here's what's happening. You engage with the prospect on IG or LinkedIn or Facebook, and then they respond. You got a response. That's a great start. You get excited, you ask about their business, they tell you their problem, and then you do what feels natural. You just start helping them because you love to help people. You share your ideas, you give them advice, you coach them through the challenge right there in the DMs. And it feels good, right? You're being helpful, you're building trust, you're showing your expertise, as they say. That's what everyone says to do. Build rapport, show value, be authentic. Except here's what no one tells you. You just coached yourself out of the sale. The person got what they needed, they said thanks, and then they ghosted you. Ever, feel that? They never booked the call, and you're left wondering why you can't close deals when you're clearly really good at what you do. The problem isn't your expertise. It's that you're giving away your solution before you even get them on the phone, right? And so I call this over-rapport, and it's real. It's killing your business. In fact, most people think they're just nurturing the leads the right way. But what's actually happening is you're training them to extract free consulting from you. Every message where you solve their problem is a message that pushes the sale further away from you. They don't need to buy from you anymore. You already helped them. And that's the trap. What does that actually look like in real conversation? I want to tell you about. We ran her DM outreach. We booked her 26 sales calls, 26 qualified people who wanted to talk to her. And again, she closed 0 of them, not 1. And it wasn't the leads. It wasn't even the messaging. It was what happened on those calls. Would get on the call. The prospect would say, hey, I already use videos in my marketing. And then would ask how they built them. How do they record them? What tools do they use? Then she'd coach them. she'd tell them exactly what to improve on the call because she thought she was helping. She said, here's how you make your videos better, how to get more engagement. She'd give away the whole playbook that she's been teaching because that's what she learned, right? And at the end of the call, she wouldn't ever ask them to pay for her because it was an awkward part where she's like, can you pay me for this? She wouldn't close. The prospect would say, thanks, this was really helpful. Can you send me the recording? And then got the recording, and they never ever talked to Michelle again, even though countless follow-ups came from side. And said, hey, I want more rapport. I want more trust building. I want more nurturing before the call. She thought if we could just warm them up enough in the messages, then they'd hop on a call and be ready to buy. But that's not how it works. When you over-rapport in the DMs, when you try to solve their problem before they even pay you, you kill the deal. You coach yourself out of the sale. See, gave away all of her goodness for free. And while we say that's a good thing, remember this. Thought she was being helpful. She thought she was building trust, being authentic, being original. But what she was really doing was taking orders. The people that would buy from her, they would just get on and say, I already know you, I love you, here's my money, and that was it. But the prospects were dictating the flow of the call. They'd ask a question, she'd answer it. Then they'd ask another one. She'd answer that one too. She never guided the conversation. She never positioned herself as the person that they needed to hire. And this is a huge problem. See, she just responded. And that's kind of order taking, even when you're on a sales call. But the real issue isn't just what happened on the call. And so here's something that you can do. I want you to write out the last 5 direct message conversations you've had with potential clients. Go ahead. Pull them up right now. I'm totally dead serious about this because I can tell you exactly where you lost control. You could see it too if you know what you're looking for. Here's kind of what happens. Someone reaches out, right? Or you reach out to them and you get them to respond. That's the first step, getting engagement. They reply, good so far, right? Then you start to ask them, this is called the transition. You start to ask them about their business. They tell you a little bit, they mention a problem, and this is where most of it falls apart. What people typically do is they throw a couple of ideas that person could try. You maybe send them a resource or a lead magnet or something. You over-rapport. You think you're building trust, but you're actually giving away the close. They get their answer, they say thanks, and you never hear from them again. It's annoying, right? Well, there's this framework that we need to remember, right? We built it at FlowChat, and I know it changes everything. It's the 4 hinge points of a DM conversation. And it's designed to do one thing. It's designed to guide them towards a call without you becoming their free consultant. First is engagement. Something human that gets a reply. Nothing fancy, just real. Secondly is what we call the transition. This is where you go from, hey, how's it going, to tell me about your business. Do you have a problem? And you start to shift the energy. In the transition phase, you also have to confirm the problem. And this is critical. You ask what they've tried to solve it. Did it work? How much have you spent on this? Maybe time, energy, money, other things that they may have spent on trying to solve the problem. You're not helping yet. You're just diagnosing. And I think that's the big misconception. I was always taught sales is a Broadway play put on by a psychiatrist. And you have to be the psychiatrist, specifically in the DMs when you first start, because when you do that, you explain to the person through your questions that you're asking that you're actually the trusted advisor that they should listen to and eventually pay. The third step is the invite. This is where you say you can help and it's worth a call. Not, here, I can fix this on the DMs right now. You say, no, this is worth a call because this is the thing that I solve, right? And as soon as they agree to have a call with you, you send them the link and then they book. Once they book, you do the last step, which is the clear future. This is a quick resource. It's a quick video. It's something that pre-frames your conversation, keeps the momentum alive until you get them on the phone. Maybe it gives a little bit more time for them to rapport and get to know you, so it's your chance to nurture a little bit more. Once you understand they have the problem that you solve, they have the money to pay for your services, and you know how they actually make decisions when they buy things like your services and products, guess what? You can close any deal of any size at any time. Here's an example. Picture this. You're standing at the fork in a road. Left path, you keep answering questions, being helpful, coaching people through their problems in the DMs, losing deals. The right path, you control the conversation, You guide them into a call using proven framework that's worked for the last 25 years, and you close the deal. Most people think those paths lead to the same place. They don't. Look, one of my consulting clients sells payment processing to restaurants. High ticket, very long sales cycle. He's been stuck around the 8% close rate for months, and I watched him DM a prospect who asked, how long does onboarding take? The old him would have written 3 paragraphs about the timeline, the setup process, the support availability, but he caught himself, and I was so proud of him when I saw this. And then he deleted it, and then he said this instead. Good question. Depends on your current setup. Why don't we take 15 minutes this Thursday and walk through it? It booked the call because he positioned himself as a trusted advisor. That deal closed 4 days later. And it wasn't because he got smoother, it's because he stopped teaching and he started controlling. That left path gets you that 5 to 8% close rate if you're lucky. The right path, look, the benchmark's 20%. Immediately, it'll shift for you like that. Not 6 months from now, today, right? Not after you read 12 more books on sales theory, psychology. It's the second you stop answering and you start controlling with questions. So if you take anything from this video, if you want to boost to a 20% close rate, that's the big trick. And that right path, that correct path, that 20% closing is just the starting point. When you keep running this process, you stay disciplined with engaging, transitioning, inviting, clear futuring, those 4 steps, you can boost your close rates way beyond 20%. In fact, my team as a team closes close to 50% because they built a process they can use every single time. The part that makes or breaks everything is this. You're not teaching your team to sell, you're teaching your team to wait. Patience is value. See, last Tuesday I opened FlowChat at 6 a.m., 7 booked calls. 5 DMs I hadn't touched. Not one new message that I had to write. By 9 a.m., 2 deals had closed, 14K in the pipeline before I even made coffee. I used to spend 4 hours a day in the DMs. Now I spend 20 minutes reviewing what's already working because I built infrastructure instead of hoping harder. And I want you to become the kind of founder who builds a sales process, not a hope and pray system. Remember those 4 hinge points. First, get engagement. Second, transition with 2 to 5 questions to go from, hey, how's it going, to, do you have a problem that I solve? And then we invite, step 3, invite and call to action with the link, get them booking with us. And then 4, hey, clear future. Here's this one thing you can do before the call. It's going to give you a lot of clarity. It might bring some more questions your way. And let's have a chat, right? Those 4 steps, they work universally across every DM conversation I've ever been in. Our next video is going to break down the DM sequences that turn cold prospects into book calls without you lifting a finger. So stay tuned for that. And again, drop a comment. What's the biggest objection you've been hearing in the DMs right now?